All right, it's July 21st. Here's the cotton. I see a lot of flowers, and they need to be thinned. Well, they need to be thinned a while ago, but they're getting thinned today. So I'm just gonna go by today, mark down every plant that's in flower or has already flowered, and then we're going to identify every place we've got a hole, which I think is only a couple places, and we're going to pull out some nice, you don't want to get super huge plants. You want something that's still about, yay size. And we're going to pull those out, and we're going to transplant one into each of the holes, and then we're just going to go by and thin everything else out. So that's it. I'm just going to go by today, tally up survival for all the existing plants, then tally up how many are flowering, or how many spaces have flowers in them, I guess. And then we'll just thin them all out and do some transplanting, and that's it for today. And probably come over here and spray the weeds on the edge of the field, and they're looking good. They're looking good. So let's get to it before it gets too horribly hot. Already missed the boat. All right, so we just collected data, and we only have 3 empty spaces, so that's really good for July. So there's one right there. There is another one on that row somewhere. No, I think, yeah, over there. And then there's one more right there on row 5. And that's it. And out of the 97 spaces that we have remaining where there's actually plants, 50 are flowering, which is really good. And there's a lot that look like they're about to flower in the next 2 or 3 days. So that's really good to see, really consistent. They're all coming in with it in about 2 weeks, but considering, the height and fertility of them, that's forgivable that they're not as consistent. This stretch right here, the front half of row 2, they look really good. I mean, every single one of these is flowering down this entire stretch. So that's impressive. And it's always like row 2 or 3 on the front end. That always does really well. I don't really understand why, but I don't know. Might be micro soil conditions or something, or maybe it just gets the best sun. I don't know. But anyway, that's the dealio. So what I'm going to do first is go find 3 nice sized plants. Probably looking for something about that size. Something, I don't want to move anything that started flowering. So, probably there, like one of those. And one of those, just some nice small plants that are, less than knee high. Just gonna dig up 3 of them, move them to the 3 empty spaces, and then we'll just get to thinning and pulling weeds, and that's it for today. All right, all the transplants have been made. Let's see, that guy came from there. That guy's in, he came from there. And that guy's in, he came from right there. He already looks a little bit sad, but he was out of the ground for about 2-3 minutes while I was actually digging the hole. So on these, I made sure to dig the hole first and then immediately walk over, pull the plant, stick it right in the hole and bury it. So yeah, but as you can see, they're already starting to react to the heat. Today is not the ideal day to be doing transplanting. So what I'm gonna do is go quickly thin everything, stack up all the thin plants, over there, somewhere out of the way. And then we'll go cut the irrigation on, and I'll just let that run all day. And then it's supposed to rain most of tomorrow and Sunday. So they should get nice and watered in. But what they're going to do, like they do every year, is they're going to drop all of their squares, all their flower buds, and all the old leaves, and just kind of curl up into a stick. And then leaf back out. And they lose about a month in the process, but it's better than having a gap most of the time. So that's the plan. But anyway, I'm going to get the thinning, everything else. All right, all the plants are thin, just a 1 plant per space. We've got those 3 transplants, so we're gonna run over here and cut the irrigation on and just let it marinate for the rest of the day. And Lord, I'm snowblind. I always forget to wear sunglasses when I'm doing this, but anywho, we're just gonna let that cook for a hot minute. Probably should have cleaned the filter. I'll do that in a second. And there we go. Cottons are thinned. And now we just have to hope that the deer don't get in here and mow them down continuously, or that the irrigation doesn't break. Anyway, wish me luck. All right, it's about 5 days later, and cottons are still alive. I don't see any more dead. This one might have been ate on a bit more by some deer, maybe. Other than that, nothing new. Let's look at the transplants. This guy is still hanging on there, still has a couple leaves left on it, so it'll recover. Just take some time. Let's see, this guy, he ain't doing so hot. Stem is still in decent condition, but it's gonna take a hot minute to recover. And lastly, this guy's doing pretty good actually. So transplants are doing just fine. That's good to see. Plants are still flowering. Feel like, do we have any additional growth? What's the growth look like? Not seeing any particular increase in growth, but they do look a little bit less nutrient stressed. It's probably just my bias talking, but that's what it feels like to me. And I'm not seeing, the chlorosis just isn't as noticeable. It's probably just sunset causing that, but yeah, looking pretty good. I'm gonna clean up the filter again, and we'll check back in another week or so and see whether things are still going well. All right, it's July 31st, just giving a quick update. It's rained a lot. It's been hecka hot, and cottons are looking pretty good. A lot of flower coverage. Plants are looking tall. Plants are looking healthy. They seem to be shooting up in height now with the hot weather and the rain. Lord, when it is miserable out, the cotton is happy. And it's happy right now because it's god-awful out. But anyway, cottons appear to be looking really good. Got new leaves coming out on that transplant. That guy doesn't look too good. And that one over there has a couple of new leaves on it. They're looking all right. We got good coverage this year, so good deal, good deal. So if it stays hot and humid, I will die, but the cotton will at the very least be good. Look at that Michelin Man action. Ugh. You could tell it was wet and hot because the weeds are coming out fierce. Anyway, we'll keep trucking along and I'll report back once or twice a week. All right, August 10th, there's the cottons. Nothing special to report, just giving you a quick little update. I see plenty of flowers. I do see some deer eatage going on over on this plant, but at the moment it looks to just be limited to that one perimeter plant. I'm wondering if the irrigation's working correctly, so I'm going to go clean the filter off again. I'm just going to try and do that once every other week just to be double extra safe. But let me see if we can see one of the transplants. So I think that's one of the transplants right there, that guy. He seems to be leafing out pretty good. Where are the other ones at? Let's see, it looks like that one over there is still dead. You can just kind of see it through the other plants. And that one over yonder is putting out leaves. So, yeah, 2 for 3, that's not bad. That's not bad. So, anywho, we're gonna clear this guy out. And, oh, there they are. Someone left me some indigo. There they are. So I'm gonna go plant those indigos over in the pollinator garden. And, we're gonna bust out the irrigation, make sure it's flowing, and something is doing something to my cotton. Look at that. That's a new one. Let's get a look at that. That's a new one on me. I don't know what's causing that, but I don't think I like it. Seems to just be isolated to these plants right here on this side. That is new. Well, I'm gonna have to go back to the office and look to see whether or not that is some sort of disease or if that is some crippling nutrient deficiency. Other plants don't seem, well, I got some over there. Huh, always something. Anyway, well, we're gonna look into that. All right, so I'm back in the office and it looks like it's called strapping and it's caused by dicamba overspray. So that was me then, because I sprayed some weeds along the perimeter a couple weeks ago, so I must have got a little bit of drift and it just hit the plants right there on the edge. So now I know not to overspray with dicamba. That's the dicamba, I can never pronounce that. That's the first time I've ever had an overspray issue, so more you know. I usually never use dicamba, but it just happens to be in one of the mixes, so I'll keep it out going forward. All right, it is now the 3rd week of August. Monday, August 21st, to be precise. First flowers appeared sometime around July the 12th, for sure by the 13th, but potentially the 12th or earlier. And I have not been out here to check on these guys in 2 or 3 weeks, so we're just going to make sure that the filter is doing its thing, so I might as well just check to see if she runs or not. Sounds like good flow. So I can just do a little coarse flush real quick. And we'll wander around to make sure everything's flowing correctly. Also, I'm sure I put it up on screen earlier, but this is actually herbicide damage. This is called strapping, and it makes the leaves look like straps. So this is 100% my fault. That was when I was spraying this. It was a little bit windy, and I was spraying it from pretty high up, and that's all on me. I was just not prepared for overspray. That is actually well, I hear air coming out the line, so it must actually be working. We're gonna let that run while I'm here messing with the cotton, but that is 100% me. That is either 2,4-D or dicambra, and I don't like dicambra, and I really don't like 2,4-D. And the only reason I'm using this in the herbicide is just because it happened to come in a pre-mix that had sulfentrazone, which is what I need to kill the nutsedge, which is that right there. As you can see, it's not dead because that stuff is the hardiest damn junk. But anyway, I digress. So I'm just going to not use 2,4-D or dicambra because, as you can see, the glyphosate, the triclopyr, and the sulfentrazone had no impact on the cotton, but just a tiny little whiff of 2,4-D or dicambra. I don't know which. They both cause strapping. Probably both. Was enough to just drift over in that extremely dilute quantity at that extremely minute rate and cause that much foliar damage, and probably is going to result in full seasonal stunting for these plants, at least for the next month or so, but it hit. So I'm gonna have to mark that down every plant that I see strapping damage on. And it's always good to see these nice 5-lobed classic Sea Island cotton leaves. But looks like we've got strapping on 1-1, 1-2, 10's got it pretty bad, 11's got it the worst, 12's got it bad, 13's got it bad, 14's got it bad. A lot less over here, but still some damage on row 2. I don't know how far it goes. But again, that was the most dilute thing in the mix, and it was like just a tiny whiff that just floated over, and it did that much damage. And it took like 2 or 3 weeks for it to actually, show evidence. Or it took a full 2 weeks before any symptoms showed up, which is really concerning that it stayed that active in the plants for that long and had this dramatic of an effect at that low dose. Like I said, this is my first experience ever having serious drift issues. Something other than just you get a little glyphosate on it, it looks brown, and it's fine a week later. 211, I'm standing in y'all's light. 211 isn't great. Not really all that much damage on row 2, and I don't think I saw anything. And there's even some over here on 3. Look at that. This is about 40 days since first flower. So theoretically, within the next week, we could see the first bolls. And the first plants to flower were these over here on 5, I believe. So we could have super early boll on one of these suckers if we get real lucky, like one of these suckers. We shall see. Oh, we have a dead one here, so that guy maybe. So we'll see. Probably going to be Memorial Day weekend is the time I'm aiming for, September 1st. I like to give them a full, it's usually 7 weeks. I like to give them about 6 weeks before I count my chickens. Till, when you just got one boll that opens, you don't know whether it was premature or not. Once you get like 3 or 4, you can extrapolate from there. That's when your picking time actually starts. And additionally, some of those really first ones, well, actually the really, really first ones are usually fine, but then like the second or third fruits on a plant will usually get dropped until the plant gets about this size, and well, the stink bugs go away. We're finally getting out of stink bug season. So a lot of what's on here is probably not going to make it, a lot of the younger stuff. But we'll probably get another bump around late October or something. That's been the case so far. But a lot of flowers. We'll be going around making sure everything has at least a flower or a bowl on it, and just noting stuff. All right, so I'm out here collecting data, and I'm marking down all plants that have flowers, or at least have had a flower, and all plants that have any signs of strapping. And I'm noticing a new symptom of the strapping. It causes the flowers to look more like a hibiscus flower, like this guy right here. But you see on the same plant, this guy is fine. That guy's very hibiscusy. And over here, this is the worst looking one. And these flowers are just like scrunched. Look at these suckers. So this guy's losing fertility because of the strapping, theoretically, or at least it's gonna have some really funny looking lint. So that's interesting. All right, so we're done collecting data, and I'm happy to report that 88% of the plants are in flower. So that's 88 out of 100 that are flowering, and 3 of those were transplants, so we weren't expecting them to flower. So that's only 9 out of the 97 plants that aren't flowering, that should be flowering. And most of the ones that aren't flowering are kind of like these guys that look like they got hit pretty early by deer, or just got the short end of the stick when it came to just getting what they need for maturity. But most of them are nice and big and healthy looking, as is usually the norm. It seems to be the front center are the best looking plants. For whatever reason, up here doesn't get, these never seem to grow particularly well. I guess it's because they don't get as much afternoon sun. Because of that, these get a little bit more. But these guys are a nice, solid 4 foot tall. So they're about 4.5 foot tall actually. So they're coming along pretty well. See, well, yeah, about, yeah, a little over 4 foot. So looking good. Just wish the strapping is it's concerning, but it seems to not really be affecting the maturation rate or the fecundity of the plants. It's just kind of like they got defoliated a little bit by deer, except not as bad because the deer always take the buds out. It seems that, it's really only having an impact on the actual leaves and the flowers and stuff. We'll see what it does to the actual, fruit, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the new growth, as far as I can tell. It's just kind of like burning what's currently on the plant, and the plant just sequesters it in the leaves and seems to go on its merry way. We'll see whether these plants get better or worse, but I'm not too terribly concerned. It's bothersome, I guess. That's the best way to put it. But we'll look pretty good. I think we're perfectly on track to have a first bowl open maybe by the end of next week. Well, should be by the end of next week. Maybe if we're extra super double lucky, we'll get a nice fat one like that guy, or this guy over here, something like that. One of these really low ones, or ooh, that guy looks really promising. He's starting to curl. Something like that might actually pop by the end of the week. Probably, next week is the far more conservative bet. Should have them by the 1st of September. So we'll see, but things are looking good. All right, it's August 29th. So this is the week where we should theoretically have our first open bowls. Hurricane Idalia is going to blow through tomorrow night. So I'm just going to go through the plants real quick and just see if we can find any open bowls, note the plants, and then get back to my house so I can, start, battening down hatches and that kind of stuff. So let's get to it. All right, it's raining out, but we have our first open bowl. Look at that. And this appears to be on row 1, plant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe. I'll verify. But that's an open bowl, and that's been open for a couple days now, or it wouldn't be wholly dried out. So I'm gonna pull this sucker off for posterity's sake, and stick that in the old back pocket. and finish the count. I have not seen any other open bulls so far. Actually, there's one over there on row 5 that's like a partially senesced bull that I'm not going to count. But that's a proper open bull. It's not a full bull. You know, it's a little bit of a stunty one. But that opened sometime this week. So we're right on track. I saw some other promising ones over there on 5/15. They look like they're a couple days out. But generally what I'm looking for are bulls with browned leaves around them that are starting to turn yellow. So let me show you some of them. But that's appears to be the only open one we've got out here at the moment. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, it's 6. 5/16. That's what I'm looking for. These guys are about to pop, particularly that one. And I saw some other nice ones over here on 3, I think. So we're right about there, right where I predicted. You know, these guys are starting to get close. Another good looking one over here somewhere. But anywho, bulls are full. Good Lord, there's a lot of stink bugs out here. So that's not a great sign. I think I might actually go to war this year. I don't know. I've never tried using insecticides. I don't like killing beneficial insects. I'd much rather do IPM. But, oh, Jesus. There's dead glass lizard out here. I don't know how the hell he managed to do that to himself. But, yeah. First bowls are open. It's raining. Hurricane's come through, so hopefully it doesn't strip all the leaves off these things. Because that would blow. But, yeah. Progress. All right, it's 2 days later. The dahlia's blown through, and doesn't look like we've had any notable damage to the cotton. I lost a bowl, or that's about it. So yeah, I'm just gonna run through it again and see whether or not we have any open bowls. I'll probably need to leave them on the actual plants to, you know, let them bake, but I'll note which ones have them. So looks like we have no damage. Looks like the strapping has run its course as far as I can tell. Oh, this guy's a little funky. Yeah, this guy's strapped. Interesting to note the morphology change. But looks like the strapping has, for the most part, run its course. Everything's, you know, well up above it now. Still a little, don't like that. I think it is still having some, might still be having some systemic effects on the worst affected plants. But let us see if we have any more open bowls. You know, generally these things rely on ambient, you know, temperatures to dry them out. And so they've been nice and saturated for the last couple of days. So that may have kind of just froze them in time wherever they were. I don't even remember which ones. Yeah, these were the ones. Yeah, see, these are a little bit closer, but they're still ways out. So I'm not expecting much. Maybe another 1 or 2 more open bowls, but once it dries out and heats up a bit more, they'll cook open. The plant also does, you know, pull water out of them. You know, it's not all passive. But ooh, look at that. Baby rough green snake. Run, little guy. So there they are. I think I'm gonna call the video here. We have our first bowls, you know, right on time. Just a hair under 49 days after first flowers. Observe 7/14 was the first flowers and 8/29 was the first open bowl. So right on track, perfect timing, you know, 6 to 7 weeks. And yeah, if you like what I'm doing here, consider going down there, giving the video a like, comment. You know, tell me if you know anything about herbicide strapping in cotton, because I know jack all. And you know, if you want to learn anything, ask me any questions, or, you know, have any other suggestions or anything, drop it down there in the comments. And if you want to see the rest of the series, you got to subscribe. So crush that big gray button down over here now. And until next time, I'm out.